Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2021 season, as we look ahead to the round 17 Super League clash between Hull FC and St Helens this Monday evening. Kevin, have you recovered from Wembley? You've had a lot of time to.
Yeah, completely recovered. Was rearing to go, and then COVID struck the camp at Saints, didn't it? So, yeah. Hope everybody who's tested positive is all right and is kind of coming out the other side of it. So, social media post from Peter Mattautia, the Castleford Centre, saying that he'd lost 9 kilos through getting it, and obviously we know how much it can affect people. So hopefully everybody's out the other side of it okay.
Yeah, obviously in 2021 with that congested fixture list, once the first of our Super League games post Wembley went, it was obviously inevitable that the second would go as well due to the 10-day quarantining rule for self-isolation following being basically pinged, isn't it, under track and trace. Maybe the first game being called off wasn't the worst for us post Wembley because we know how teams normally perform, but the layoff that we've had since probably will not have helped, will it?
No, I don't think it will have. I think it's kind of always. Well, you look at Castleford. In fact, look at Castleford, who didn't play a game before the Challenge Cup final for a month, or their first team didn't. I don't see how something as stop-start as that can help you at all. Even if it's the majority of your team who play and you are missing 4, 5, 6 each week, and the different lot who you miss each week. It's still not just going to help. Just you keep going playing rugby, you keep being in the swing of things, you're keeping some that sharpness there, and that's why, even though I don't think Hull have been going all that well performance-wise recently, it's going over there on a Monday night isn't the greatest of fixtures you'd say on paper for us to be coming back after a bit of time off.
Yeah, I'd like to know what rocket scientists decided to send Saints to Hull on a weekday Monday evening. Not the greatest of fixture planning. If this was football and it was like Boxing Day or whatever else, you set local fixtures up. If they're going to do these back-to-back fixtures and try and put games in close succession, we're going to play in Lee today. Why aren't we playing the likes of Warrington? Somebody this side, they couldn't really send us much further away apart from Catalan, could they?
No, well, Hull KR, a little bit extra to go into East Hull. But yeah, listen, is this just how football is? You know, like you see people who might have to travel from, I don't know, Liverpool up to Newcastle on a Monday night. It's just the way the world that, unfortunately, the money comes from Sky. It comes from all your broadcasting deals. So it is what it is, unfortunately. It's not great, don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily enamoured with a trip on a Monday night over to Hull and then getting back, midnight-ish, maybe a bit after, and then work the next day. It's not my idea of fun. But it is what it is, Dave.
Obviously, post-COVID, fans now back in the stadium. We've seen some clubs' attendances have been down over the last few weeks. For me, playing on Monday night, Wednesday night, it's taken the fans out of that routine. Not that they've had one for 18 months, but fans expect to go to a game either on a Friday night or a Sunday afternoon. At the moment, with the games being all over the show, it's not allowing fans to even regain that match day routine.
Yeah, that's it. It's funny you say that because I've got my phone in front of me here and I've just had a little look for when our next fixture is. That's how, and it's on Saturday at 2:30 at home against Catalan. And it's funny, like you're saying that you're out of the routine. Well, I am, because I didn't know if it was going to be this week our game. I didn't know if it was going to be next week our game. I think we kind of settled down a little bit where it's Saturday the 7th, Thursday the 12th, Friday the 20th, and we do start settling down into a bit of a Thursday, Friday. Oh no, then there's Thursday, then Monday. Listen, yeah, the routine, as you say, it might not have been there for fans of not being able to go to the game, but still being able to watch the game and expect your game to be on a Friday. People do fall into habits, don't they? And people can quickly fall out of habits. And one of them seems to be not going to the game.
Well, I'm glad you've just told me Catalan is on Saturday, because I thought it was Friday night. That's why I'm sat here looking at my phone going, oh no.
Everton play early that day as well.
Oh, no. Well, yeah. Main kick off the week after for the league season. But yeah, you're right. It's an awkward one. Obviously, the effects of COVID are still lingering around the camp. Because obviously we've only been able to start training again on Thursday this week. 3 days training after a big layoff isn't ideal. A couple of the squad obviously still missing, whether it's due to injury or maybe still having to remain in isolation. We don't know those names officially, but Christian Wolf said you could probably make your own judgments based on who's missed out. Regan Grace not in the squad, Ignatius Parsi or Josh Sim. Meaning, along with the injury to Theo Fage, we're only able to name a 20-man squad.
Yeah, as you say, the Saints aren't going to come out and turn around and say these have definitely tested positive and these definitely haven't tested positive. But you just make your own mind up on it, don't you? While we won't have been training, I don't think we'll have been going through drills, but the players will have been, or the players who have been okay and may have just been close contacts without actually testing positive at all, will have been keeping themselves fit. No doubt about that. It's just getting that your formulas, your partnerships all working, and that's what we might be missing. It might be a little bit clunky on Monday night. Yeah,
obviously we've named the three that are missing out. Sio Matautia back in the squad after missing the game at Wembley due to that ban. Lewis Dodd will get his start in the halfback role. And Christian Wolf coming out and saying that basically, obviously, with Theo Fage not likely to be here next season, although the club are still saying we're awaiting that decision, that if Fage does leave, we won't be going in the market for a halfback, and that position will be earmarked for Lewis Dodd. So a chance for him to get a little bit of a head start, Kev.
Yeah, I'd expect a lot of work to be put through him on Monday night. I think Hull will target him and try and nullify him because he hasn't had that many starts and that many games for us. I hope Saints fans aren't expecting a prime Darren Lockyer, Sean Long, anyone like that to slot in as well. He's a young lad learning his way. And I think Saints fans have got to remember, the same as we said about Jack Wellesby, who'll get the fullback shirt next year. Saints fans have got to remember that we balance our team on bringing young lads through, as well as supplementing that with good senior pros, whether they be from Australia or whether they be from over here, or the best you can get under a salary cap anyway. So it's a case of giving them lads time, isn't it? And hoping that, as you say, it's a bit of a head start, but he's not getting thrown in first match day of next season as a starting seven. He's got a couple of games at the end of this season where he can turn around and say, yeah, I am the right man for that job. Yeah, obviously, we've used the line a few times, or you've used the line a few times in here about not expecting a prime Sean Long straight away. At this point in his career, would we be happy with prime Travis Burns? I just want prime Lewis Dodd. I've seen Lewis Dodd play in the reserves. I think it was against Salford down at Ruskin, and you could just tell that he was. I know it's reserve grade. I know it's not first grade, and there is a big step up. But you could see him bossing people about. You could see him kind of saying where he wanted the runners going in. You could just tell he had that little bit about him, that little bit extra about him. And you know what? It's going to be fun to see him, but let's not just put too much pressure on. Even a prime Travis Burns Hull KR.
Definitely wasn't at us, was it? But you're right though, and I think the club have handled Lewis Dodd really, really well. He served a long apprenticeship just in the background, being around the squad. I think if we go back and look at the grand final pictures from when we beat Salford in 2019, Lewis Dodd is there in the changing rooms. So he's been embedded in the culture, that winning culture at the club. And I'm sure he's now more than willing and ready mentally to want to step up and show it himself on the biggest stage. So, yeah, really looking forward to watching him. And going forward this season, with Farge being out for the rest of the year, to go through a half-back change, key position, at this point in the season after winning the Cup, if we can now go on and win the Super League again for the third time in a row, that's going to be an absolute tremendous feat to have achieved for Christian Wolff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it will be. As you say, it's big losing your 7. And some people rate Theo Farge, some people don't. But he's got his place in this team and how we play. His defence is brilliant. People get on his back because he isn't a prime Sean Long. And I think people are expecting a step up from Theo Farge or some people will be when Lewis Dodd, and by the way, it's Dodd, not Dodds. I swear the next person who tweets us with the name Dodds, I'm just going to block on Redvee. I'm not lying to you, Dave. It does me head in.
It's really immature blocking people on social media, Kev.
I couldn't care less. Yeah, people are going to expect that step up because Lewis Dodd has arguably got a better kicking game, or it's a perceived better kicking game. But Theo Farge will have been given his instructions, and Lewis Dodd will be working under the same framework. He may be allowed a little bit more off the cuff because is he a more natural halfback? It certainly looks that way from the glimpses that we've seen, but he'll still be working under the same structure because he's working under the same boss, who incidentally has had his year's contract extension triggered by the club. So he's going to be working under him, and it's good. It's good in a way that we've got that stability there. Looks like a big overhaul of the squad. Having Christian Wolff there, I think, is good for stability. And again, and I asked the question on Redvee on the Twitter saying, who would you have if we hadn't taken that option up? No one got back to me with an option. And a lad who I usually interact with, Mike Hughes, he turned around and said it was a little bit unfair because people wouldn't have heard of Justin Holbrook and people wouldn't have heard of certain other names when he came in. But it's not. I don't think it's an unfair question. If you turn around and say not him, then at least give an option otherwise of who would you go for? Would you? It's a case of I don't know who it'd be, but I'd go back to Australia and see if there's anybody who'd want to come over here with the current COVID restrictions.
See, what I wouldn't get is if you didn't want to keep Christian Wolff, and so you send Mike Rush back over to Australia, searching for the next big thing, and he's interviewing for roles, and the coaches who are applying go, all right, so what's the criteria at the club? And it's like winning trophies. All right, so what's happened to the last bloke? Oh, we've sacked him. Why? Because it's not the easiest on the eye occasionally. It's like, well, what do you want? He's winning trophies, and the NRL mindset is winning. And to be fair, that's my mindset as well. I think the people who maybe aren't as happy, obviously, yes, I understand there's an old tradition, obviously, that play in the Saints way. But equally, there's a lot of our fans who've been spoiled by success in probably other sports, where they've seen the teams win trophies, and it may not be the biggest thing for them. But for the likes of me and you who support Everton and Burnley, I don't think I'll ever get bored of seeing my team lift a trophy. And I don't care how that happens. So there's two different camps, isn't there? And I noticed a big shift after Wembley when Wolff brought the Challenge Cup home. I think he's won 3 out of his last 4 major trophies. And I think fans have now realised, you know what? It's an ends to a means.
Means to an end. It is. It is, to be fair. And that's it. Listen, he's winning things. It's not. Listen, is it the best rugby we've ever seen at Saints? Probably not. But once you've won the trophy after it, do we go back and start thinking about games that you sneak through against half team, against half a Leeds team? Couldn't care less. Go and have a look in the boardroom. Challenge Cup's in there. Doesn't matter, does it?
I still remember the journey back from Wembley, Kev, 2019. with Justin Holbrook, who many hold on the pedestal as best coach we've ever had. And you know what? Listen, he is up there, but he lost at Wembley when the crunch came. And the thing you can say about Christian Wolff is he knows how to win big games. He's changed that culture around the club. We get to a final, we're now not bottling it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Be interesting to see, just going back to the squad, who drops out of that 20-man squad as well. I've written a team down, and probably the three that I think would miss out are Foster, Eves, and Smith. Just because Hull tend to have a bigger pack. I know they're missing. They're missing quite a few across the team. So Jake Connor, Josh Griffin, obviously, Scott Taylor, Matty Matongo. Anybody else? Jamie Shaw.
Does that assume that everybody in that squad we've named is actually fit?
Yeah, I've got to assume that, because otherwise, why would they be in that squad?
Because we haven't got anyone else.
Because we haven't got it. But then you do the thing of other clubs have named, like Huddersfield named something like a 6-man squad a couple of weeks ago, and then just kept adding names to it. And
that said, if we've named players who aren't fit there, well, why wouldn't you have named somebody else who isn't fit and make it 21?
Yeah, well, exactly. So I'm assuming that they're all fit, and I'm assuming we'll see a big bench against
the obvious Hull. Jack Wellesby to the wing.
Yeah. I've got Coop Makinson, Nagama, Percival Wellesby, Lomax Dodd, Walmsley Roby, LMS, Matautia Batchelor Knowles, with a bench of Amore, Joel Thompson, Dan Norman, and Batty Lees.
Yeah, and that should be more than enough to take on a whole side. And you said at the start of this episode about, bloody hell, there's two massive wood pigeons in my back garden.
I've not mentioned that at all, Dave.
They're massive. I've lost my train of thought now.
Wood pigeon TV. Apparently, I said something at the start of this episode.
There's me dinner tonight. At the start of this episode, we were saying about on paper going to Hull, but I was really surprised by the stats that we've beat Hull on the last 10 occasions that we faced them, and we've won our last 4 at the MKM, KCOM, whatever you want to call it, stadium.
Well, that's a great stat, to be fair. I think my thing of going to Hull is the fact that it's a Monday night. Hull FC have my favourite away stadium in the league. I love the place. I think it's a fantastic stadium. So I do love going over there. We've been absolutely shellacked a couple of times. We've shellacked them a couple of times. It's usually a good game. And as you say, if all them are fit, all them are 100%, they've all had a couple of weeks off. So listen, it's not ideal. But if they're all fit and all still rearing to go, with Hull not in the greatest of forms at the minute, there's no reason why we can't go over there as long as we play well and beat them.
Hull FC squad from their website, they've gone all out with the imaging to announce their squad, but at least it's in black and white.
Yeah. That's it. They're missing quite a few, aren't they?
Yeah, I think you obviously named them. Jake Connor, Josh Griffin, Scott Taylor, Massa Matongo, Jamie Shaw, and Harvey Barron are still sidelined.
Savelio's not in that squad.
And Andre Savelio, yes, suspended. His second game of his free game, banned for was it fighting after the Huddersfield game?
Yeah, with Josh Jones, I think.
Obviously didn't want to play against us this week. We talked about us not playing for 2.5 weeks, but then Hull are coming off the back of a defeat on Thursday night. So could obviously our fitness and stamina tell against a tiring Hull side late on? I know in that game against Leeds, it was tight for 60 minutes before Leeds ran away with it late on. Could that be the way Monday night goes as well?
Well, I'm sure that our strength and conditioning coaches have been ensuring our players are up to, or as far up the fitness ladder as they can be. But
10 laps to the back garden.
10 laps to the back garden, yeah. A couple of get the skipping rope out and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, as I say, game sharpness. Having that much time off, it might do. I don't think we'd get blown away. necessarily. He said, I've said that now, but like where we turn around and say Saints tend to teams stay with us when we're playing week in, week out, teams stay with us and then we blow teams away in the past 20 minutes. I'd hope that wouldn't be the case for us. I'd hope the fitness levels are still up there. I just think it'll be sharpness that may well just have had a little bit of a dip. I think if we'd have been playing who we were meant to be playing straight after Hull KR, I think if we'd have played them, I'd have used the phrase after the Lobmers show. You just hope that that's not kind of carried on into this.
Just looking at the whole squad, number 27, 10 points for correct pronunciation. I'm going to go for I'm going for Mitiali Voliki Japani.
Yeah, I agree. Well done. It's easy for you to say all that.
To the commentator, that isn't it, if you're on TV.
Yeah, you're hoping he's not named in the 17, aren't you? Yeah, but that's it.
Tell you what, Kev, sorry. If he scores, you don't want to see the state of my tweets.
I mean, they're bad enough when you're just trying to spell usual everyday words, let alone like Fijian, Samoan, Tongan names and stuff like that. So, yeah, exactly. So, but that's it. They got beaten last time out by Leeds, and I saw a couple of tweets and messages going about saying that we should absolutely hammer these. But I think that takes out the whole equation of we've been going through lads having COVID and lads having to isolate and the likes. I think it evens it up quite a bit, to be fair.
Yeah, just looking up, Mitiali Veliki Japani is Fijian. He made his debut in round 15 and scored 2 tries in the 40-26 defeat a couple of weeks ago against Huddersfield. So he is capable of getting on the score sheet. So I might just copy and paste his name ready to go into the tweet. I
would do.
But let's hope we're not using it.
Save it as a draft just in case.
Right, predictions for Monday night. I'm going to go Saints by 20.
Oh wow! I think I go Saints by 8. I think a lot closer than you do, to be fair.
So we will be on. Do you know what? It's like the opposite ends of the scale, isn't it? One weekend you're at Wembley, and the next game out you're at Hull.
Yeah,
as you say, at least it's the better facilitated stadium side of Hull.
My favourite. I've not said. Well, yeah, it is. To be fair, yeah, I can't argue with that because it's my favourite away stadium. So yeah, it is.
See, I like Cass.
Now, Cass. Listen, we could get into a debate now about whether Cass and Wakey should have them stadiums in Super League.
They shouldn't, but it's the fact that it's still the oldest thing that in the world that reminds me of Knowsley Road.
Well, that is true, and that's what I do have a soft spot for Cass, but it can never be my favourite.
Once it's gone forever. Yeah, not necessarily a bad thing when it does go, but it'll be missed.
It just can't be. It can't be my favourite because it's a shed.
Fair enough. With corrugated iron around it. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's us done. I'll see you tomorrow night for the trip to Hull. Hopefully we'll be travelling back along that 62 late on with a percentage points under our belts.
Fingers crossed.
Right. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we'll catch you tomorrow night for the instant fan reaction on Redvee TV. Catch you soon.